Let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly, Republicans are the ones concerned about healthcare. Republicans are the party. We've done it.
It's time to get into some shenanigans from the press office of Gavin Newsom and Gavin Newsom. So this is from the press office. This is a picture of Stephen Miller. It says a live look at Stephen Miller tonight. Stephen Miller is a little upset because the Constitution is hurting his feelings. So the press office says, sorry, the Constitution hurt your feelings. You'll be fine, cupcake. So let's see what Stephen Miller is upset about. Legal insurrection. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, not an Oregon judge. Portland and Oregon law enforcement, at the direction of local leaders, have refused to aid ICE officers facing relentless terrorist assault and threats to life. There are more local law enforcement officers in Oregon than there are guns and badges in the FBI nationwide. This is an organized terrorist attack on the federal government and its officers, and the deployment of troops is an absolute necessity to defend our personnel, our laws, our government, public order, and the republic itself. In Portland, Oregon. That's what he's talking about. This frog is one of the combatants that was going hand to hand against ICE. This says, LOL, this is how Portland ICE agent jumps into a brawl to pepper spray a frog in the patootie. And then we got this from the press office. It says Donald Trump is illegally deploying California's National Guard to Oregon to handle an inflatable frog. He's testing the limits of law to see how far he can go to take total control of you. Yeah, let's go after these frogs, these terrorist frogs. The press office says fire Stephen Miller. Gunther Eagleman says fire Gavin Newsom. Patriot Dad says, for what? Being too effective? Y'all don't like law and order, do you? Okay, now the press office says Stephen Miller is making things up again. A federal judge said it best when rejecting Trump's illegal guard deployment. The president's determination was simply untethered to the facts. And so then Stephen Miller goes on CNN and he says ICE officers have to have street battles against Antifa, like put them up, doing hand-to-hand combat, like sir. This is what's going on. Every night, they're going to and fro the building. Frogs are coming at them. It's crazy out there.
No, they are actually, as we speak, trying to overthrow the core law enforcement function of the federal government. Boris, this is, I think, where we're talking past each other. When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night. To come and go from their building. When they try to exit in a vehicle. When they are swarmed and surrounded and they try to tip the vehicle over. When people bring weapons to an ICE facility to try to engage in direct violent assault against ICE officers, what is the purpose?
In wartime, you learn to adapt. Welcome to the Portland Saturday Market, where we're here getting provisions for war.
It is to prevent immigration and customs enforcement from carrying out the mission the American people elected them to do. Their objective is to make it impossible for ICE to carry out ICE enforcement.
We're gonna go stand in line for some rations. As you can see, the line isn't as long as it usually is.
Let's go.
Always watching. How much for a haunted doll these days? It's pretty exhausting to be in a war zone.
Shots are flying in Portland, Oregon. Get ready, people.
I don't know if you can hear that. That's a drum circle. That is how we rally our troops.
That's right. That's how you rally our troops.
That's how you get the people going.
That's how you get the people going.
Very dangerous.
Remember, even in times of conflict, you have to make time for joy. Here's Delaney doing the Portland Shuffle.
Whew, so we saw all of the battle that's going on, right? Now the press office is saying to MAGA Mike Johnson, why are you hiding the Epstein list? Because MAGA Mike Johnson is on this video. He's saying, when the truth is on your side, you have nothing to hide from. That is what he's saying. And so the press office is like, why are you hiding the Epstein list? Anna posts this, who wants to see the Epstein files, and raises her hand. DJ Omega says, that's great, but still gonna need those Epstein files. A reporter asked Donald Trump if he was planning on pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, and this is his response to that.
So long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I'll speak. I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ.
Fozan says since Trump is in the Epstein files, he is going to do everything he can to protect himself. What dirty secrets and enigmas are lurking inside those files? I went over to Gavin Newsom's page. This is what he says. Caroline Leavitt admits Donald Trump wants the military to continue to take over American cities across the country. Do not allow them to normalize this. So this was the question to Caroline. Do Democrats not have reason to be concerned that there are long-term plans by this administration to keep the U.S. military or National Guard in American cities? And Caroline Leavitt says, you guys are framing this like the president wants to take over American cities with the military. But look at how Stephen Miller is trying to frame it. The one thing you haven't heard from Democrats in the midst of all their raving histrionics, telling their radical base to stop violently assaulting ICE agents. The doxing, murder threats, and violent attacks are soaring. Just days ago, a sniper tried to assassinate multiple ICE agents, 2 vehicle ramming attacks in one day. The list is endless. But instead of condemning the violence, they claim the domestic terrorism is provoked by the mere presence of federal officers, adoring the moral frame and language of the paid insurrectionists. Now, Stephen Miller is saying this, but at the same time, so we see this judge's house right here is up in flames. Daniel Goldman says Trump, Stephen Miller, and MAGA World have been doxing and threatening judges who rule against Trump, including Judge Goodstein. Today, someone committed arson on the judge's home, severely injuring her husband and son. Will Trump speak out against the extreme right that did this? And the thing is, it might not even be the extreme right, but what happened when Charlie Kirk went down? What happened? What did they do? The MAGA influencers immediately came on and was talking about civil war, round them up, and all of that. They were doing that immediately before there was even anyone in custody. And now we have this dude, Stephen Miller, acting like the left is doing all of this and the left is threatening everything. But they are sitting up here every time that Trump gets ruled against by these judges, they come for them. They release their names. They are putting them in danger. But here Stephen Miller is acting like these ICE agents in Portland are in danger. There's no danger in Portland, but he's saying it's an organized campaign of domestic terrorism targeting core operations of the federal government. This dude is a liar. Here he is coming for a judge because these judges are separate from the executive branch. But he says an Oregon judge ruled that the commander-in-chief cannot station federal troops in her state to defend the lives of federal officers. Those federal officers are not in danger like they're acting. Like the judge said, they are untethered from the facts. This is where we'll end it with this cartoon. So this was posted by the press office. This man is looking back, talking to his wife. It looks like there's some agents that showed up at the door. It says, honey, did you post something negative about the regime? And that's where we'll end it, because seems like this is where we're going. This is where we're headed. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about all of this.
I am on a walk in a war-torn Portland neighborhood. I feel very unsafe. They have free stuff out here. I mean, communism. What was that?
It's just a squirrel. I thought it was a trans person. These people are absolutely disgusting. They can't even get their trash into the recycling bin. Shame. I am now crossing the street. I really hope that a radical leftist lunatic doesn't get me. That is a witch's hat. This place is demonic. There are children. I repeat, there are children playing at the park. I need backup. I don't like the diversity. I really don't like this. More communism. These are not in alphabetical order. This place is a disgrace. I'm gonna try to get home as soon as I can before the bombs drop.